SaaS's customer data platform. CDPs are an evolving technology and a marketing buzzword in the last couple of years, but the requirements are not. They have always been around for many years. The need to consolidate a customer record and make that available to other technologies for activation. SaaS has been doing this within customer intelligence for over 2 decades. It's the heart of any customer-led activity. With that being said, the industry has generally agreed upon 4 key principles or capabilities that we plan to showcase to you in this demonstration. Firstly, the ability to ingest data. SaaS Customer Intelligence has unmatched capability of collecting and listening to real-time data from first-party owned websites and mobile apps. Through the same technology, we can collect other MarTech data from data layers, from Adobe, Google, and utilize these in our understanding. Secondly, identity resolution and that ability to manage the customer across all channels in real time. The third capability is creating audiences for activation, whether that is contextual data captured in the moment or historical or third-party data that enriches their segments. Of course, at SaaS, we differentiate from others in the market with our analytical history and the ability to go beyond simple segmentations. And then finally, CDPs need to be able to provision and activate the data asset, defining customer journeys to guide customers through purchase cycles whilst triggering moments that matter to customers as part of their journey. So let's take a look through a demonstration. So let's start by navigating to our SaaS retail site. Utilizing our single codeless tag, we start to collect events and behaviors of the session. Product categories, as well as individual products. All these are collected within the tool and the CDP. This collection of granular clickstream data relates to the listening part of the engagement process and shows our ability to ingest real-time data into our CDP. You will also notice at the top left-hand corner the session ID and corresponding identity management record. We will add to this throughout the demonstration. If you recall, the next stage is to understand by adding context to these events. It also allows us to create audiences for targeting engagement, whether that is for third-party advertising in Google and Facebook, on-site personalization, or triggering a set of coordinated customer interactions in the form of a customer journey. SaaS CDP provides all those capabilities. In this example, I'm going to click on Weekly Specials. And this adds the customer to a real-time segment, as well as pushing that customer onto an individual journey, in this case, the Bargain Hunter journey. So far, our customer has only interacted with the web channel. So let's add activity from a mobile app. If I go to the app, which is associated with the SDK and the CDP, straight away, you should start to see the identity being pushed into the identity management solution and associating it to our customer. Whether that's a simple focus and defocus that we can see there in the behaviors, or going in and actually showing a geolocation. Those events are all being pushed into the solution, as well as adding individual products. So in this case, some slippers into the products. All the data is consolidated into that single unified customer profile. You can also utilize any engagement events from any other previous interactions. So in this example, I can open up an email, and within the identity management, we will see that line to show that open. Again, another trigger or an event that we can utilize. Furthermore, we can start to see the identity graph and the associations between all the sessions and identities. We can also start to see the relationships between all those different channels and touch points based on the frequency of events seen between them. SaaS's real-time identity service uses a deterministic approach to govern how to match and prioritize identifications. This means that the service uses any imparted customer information, including login ID, any field interactions, or a form submit. There is also an ability to use any cookie, data layer, or page element variable. Probabilistic matching can also be used to support the real-time identity service, as shown here. This data has been collected through the CDP in terms of names and addresses, as well as information such as the device and the platform. And then we're running it through a process of data quality transformations. In this case, we're parsing the name into a family name and a given name. SAS's quality knowledge base has the ability to parse and standardize many different variable types, such as address, name, as well as phone and postal code. We can see here on the left some of those standardizations we're doing. So in this case, our postal code. We then have the ability to define match codes and set a sensitivity of how we want these matches to be done. This gives the customer full control and governance of how they're actually going to match individuals together, whether that be using device type or things such as their user agent, as well as utilizing information such as imparted information from the address, name, and email. And then finally, there is the ability to use those match codes to create clusters. So in this case, we can see the different rules, so therefore that can be utilized. Once these have been created, they can then be uploaded via the API and then used to match and purge identities together. SAS's CDP allows us to go deeper and further into any process, in this case the purchase cycle, to understand behaviours associated with the checkout process. If I bring back up the website, we get to see all the interactions such as add to cart, information around view to carts, as well as any changes I may do to the quantities in terms of updating that cart and then going through to the checkout process. All this captured data can be used with advanced analytics and part of a model ops process. You can see at the bottom right hand corner, a decision has been made using SAS Intelligent Decisioning. It's incorporating a real-time model to evaluate the basket. Whether this is around stock control and management, potentially offering a credit product as payment, or maybe a free delivery message based on securing the purchase. All this can be utilized within the CDP. AI and machine learning can also be used to define significant customer moments that we may want to action. Whether that is as simply as using an invalid coupon code, and therefore, from a customer perspective, a negative sentiment, or whether that is actually abandoning the cart, and therefore being able to actually identify that and then utilizing it as a trigger. SAS also has the ability to utilize embedded text analytics, to be able to identify emotion and sentiment, whether that is from a bag product review, where the customer has an open text box to be able to write whatever they want in, and the need, therefore, to be able to show and understand sentiment of that comment. In this case, that you're not happy with the colour. You can see once that is submitted, the feedback is available through streaming into the CDP, but also that moment has been identified. This can also be for third-party chatbots, where we can scrape out any of the communications of the customer. So in this case, starting off with some simple messages in terms of greetings of Carrie, the chatbot, but then this ability to be able to bring through any kind of level of sentiment. In this case now, to actually say, I'm not happy with the product. And again, within that moment, we should hopefully see that negative sentiment being defined and that ability to actually reach out. Whilst not shown here, this could also be call center data being utilized in real time and actually sending an external event into the CDP in a similar way. Our CDP capability allows us to ingest any external data into our CDP and utilize it not only for triggering of moments, but also as part of the customer profile and audience and segment creation. The final considerations of our CDP is the ability to activate the CDP data across a managed and orchestrated omnichannel customer journey. Here we can see an activity map that utilizes the core CDP data asset to engage with customers across multiple channels. We can see an analytically driven moment triggering a web personalization, potentially followed by an email and a web push. Here, we also have the ability to integrate into any activation layer, whether that is Google, Adobe, Salesforce, or a partner such as Cineverse for mobile wallet, RCS messages, and WhatsApp. Finally, each task has the ability to utilize all data captured for targeting and offer creation, as well as utilizing the customer's entire data asset through on-premise segments and audiences. Our ability to ingest any type of data from a customer's private cloud or data center and not requiring them to load that data into SaaS's CDP gives us a key differentiator by allowing customers full control and governance over their data, whilst using it like any other collected data in the CDP. This demonstration only touches on a small subset of our CDP capabilities, but hopefully goes some way to showcasing why we go beyond a normal CDP software vendor. Thank you for listening.